so in love with you.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers, you guys. Now, there's no doubt any longer that we are in a housing market cool down. At the very least, you guys, you have to admit that we are in a cool down. And what you're going to start seeing in your local markets are houses on the market longer. You're going to start seeing price reduction. And finally, you're going to start seeing more buyer incentives coming back to the market. And the biggest thing of all, you're going to start seeing housing market inventory increase. But here's the thing, you guys, our housing market and our economy is so weak that it cannot even handle a 75 basis point rate increase. As a house of cards fixing to crumble, and you guys are already starting to see that because the Federal Reserve has done very little and our economy and our housing market can barely even handle it. Now, what's very fascinating, you guys, is no metro area is going to be completely immune to a cool down and a housing market crash. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through an article from CBS titled "Homes in 90% of US Cities Are Overvalued." So that's a pretty big deal, you guys. And that's why I'm saying that no metro area is going to be completely immune to a housing market crash. And the reason is, once again, 97% of cities are overvalued. So it's especially important that if you can pick where you live, do a lot of research when picking where to live. And always, when you purchase real estate, look at it as a long-term investment. I feel like there's so many people that have fear of missing out right now. They can't even look past their noses. But you have to remember, this transaction is so large. You're going to be living there for so long that you have to ask yourself, what's going to happen 10 years from now, right? What's going to happen 5 years from now? Because even though a lot of people purchase, houses for primary residence and pride of ownership, it also is an amazing investment that a lot of people potentially can retire on. So you want to look at it as a pride of ownership, but also look at it in a more savvy way, because it is very expensive and it will more than likely appreciate, right? And build equity. Now, remember, you guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a YouTuber sharing my experiences, sharing my opinions with you. Even though I am a realtor in Houston and a loan officer in Texas, just my opinions here, you guys. And if you could, please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and please continue to comment. You guys' comments are absolutely amazing. I love you guys so much. Please continue to do that. Now let's jump into this article right now. Okay, y'all, here's how the article starts. Home values in 97% of US cities are overvalued, and real estate in some of the most overpriced regions could fall by 10% over the next few years. The pandemic has boosted home prices in parts of the country far beyond the typical coastal hotspots. The most overpriced city in the nation is Boise, Idaho, which became a magnet for technology workers who wanted to relocate from pricey California cities with their offices shut down to the pandemic. Boise's homes are 73% overvalued, making it the most overpriced city in the nation. The analysts may raise concerns for home buyers, especially in regions where real estate prices have enjoyed rapid gains during the pandemic. At the same time, buyers face a double whammy of high prices and rapidly rising mortgage rates, with the latter adding thousands of dollars to the annual cost of a home. Boise is 75% overvalued. Imagine that for a second, 73%. And that's why I'm saying, guys, there's going to be no metro areas that's really immune to any downturn and any crash in the housing market. And it's really, really alarming, especially in Boise. I never thought in my wildest dreams that it would be 73% overvalued. And that also goes to show how much migration is happening right now and how many people are trying to flee overpriced cities going to more affordable areas. And now essentially what that has done is they've moved to another overvalued place that is probably going to be drastically unaffordable in the months to come, right? So it's kind of crazy. So if you're going to migrate, try to migrate where not as many people are migrating, or you're going to be in a situation like everyone that just moved to Boise is in, which is now they're in an overpriced housing market, and probably the cost of goods and services are also skyrocketed, right? Let's continue on with this article right now. You guys take a look at this snippet. Cities in the South and Mountain West, which have seen an influx of buyers during the pandemic, could suffer a 10% drop in housing prices during the next several years. And he goes on, and here's what I love the most. It probably makes sense to wait a year or two if you are able, he said in an email to CBS Money Watch. House prices will be lower in the most overpriced market, and there will be more housing inventory to choose from. You guys, does that sound familiar? Does that sound like something that I have been saying for the last 2 months, right? Just wait a little bit, inventory will be better. But here's the thing, it is so refreshing now to start seeing articles in the mainstream media that are telling people wait, right? They are saying it may be best to wait. And if that's now in the mainstream media, you probably know the problem is much worse than what it appears to be, right? But that is so refreshing to finally see an economist and someone that's a professional, that's very intelligent say, wait, it may be best. It's not just me now, right? And we're going to see that continuing to go on into 2022. And my guess is this time next year in 2023, all that's going to be on the news is the housing market crash that is happening, right? Mark my words on that. And it's actually very common. Anytime there's any type of equity growth like this that breaks fundamentals, the housing market crashes. This is nothing new. It's actually very, very, very common, which is really why it's so shocking that some people cannot even fathom that we're not even in a housing market bubble, right? Shocking to me, but it is what it is. Let's continue on with the article right now. Okay, now what we have here, guys, is we have a map, right, of the most overvalued cities. Now it goes from like light to dark green, and this is what it says. Homes in 97% of cities are overvalued based on how much their current price exceeds the historical relationship between home prices and local household income. Okay, so that is a beautiful way to kind of break this down. Home prices accelerating and wages accelerating kind of need to be equal, which they are definitely not. But look at this. Here's the map. Obviously, the West Coast has always been bad. Coastal cities. Look at this. Almost the entire coastline on the West Coast is overvalued. But here's the real shocker. I've had people comment that Florida cannot possibly crash, but look at Florida is like, as a state, is super duper bad. I would say Florida is more at risk than Texas, but look at Texas. Once affordable Texas, it's now growing to become unaffordable. Do you see that here in Texas? But what's really a shocker, look at these northern states. This is wild, you guys. And the East Coast. So like if we were to cut the state right here, everything on the East Coast right now, everything looks like it is drastically overvalued, right? So the East Coast is probably going to get hit even more than the West Coast this time around. And it's probably because, the West Coast is so overpriced, you can't even move there anyways, unless you already own. But this is a very important map, you guys. And I suggest that if you guys are trying to buy a home, that you study that map carefully and you try to maybe migrate to somewhere that is not going up so quickly in overvaluation on homes and the retail sector and the services sector. You may want to pick somewhere else. I love Texas, even though Houston's a little bit overvalued. I would say probably 10%, maybe a little bit more overvalued. It's still way more affordable than across the nation. So it's really important to put things in perspective, but it's also important to get a good deal. And that's why I'm always telling you guys, study the local market, study exactly where you want to move, because you probably have no idea how that housing market works. And just because you think something's a good deal, it may not be a good deal. Let's continue on with this article right now. It goes on. Rock and a hard place. The nation's most overvalued cities aren't the usual suspects. After Boise, the second most overpriced market is Sherman Dennis, Texas. Texas is number 2, near the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where homes are valued 60% above what fundamentals would suggest. Do you guys remember me saying it's breaking economic fundamentals, You guys start to see the writing on the wall? Let's continue. Its population has grown by double digits for 2 decades as people relocated to Texas from other regions. The third most overpriced city is Muskegon, Michigan, where housing is 59% overvalued. This is a really good article, you guys. I'm going to have it in my description if you want to read the whole thing. I suggest you do, because it's a lot of eye-opening information. But really, can you guys now see the damage actually of the mass migration that we've been having for so long? Look at the damage it's creating on once affordable cities, right? And all the tech relocation jobs and the ability to work from home. It is turning these once affordable cities into unaffordable cities because everyone is moving there. It's really astonishing if you think about it. But let's continue on this article right now. House hunters should examine their budget, try to figure out if they can afford the purchase, with the guiding principle being to spend no more than 1/3 of your gross income on housing costs, including mortgage, property tax, insurance, and maintenance. Tucker also recommends asking whether a prospective buyer would be happy to live in the home for several years. The classic rule of thumb is 5 years to hold on to a property, he said. If the answers to those questions are yes, then I think there's a good argument for forging ahead to buy that house. He added, the other important question is, where else would I be living and how much would that cost? So you guys, you see what's going on here. Although I am specifically saying it is very important to shop on where you're going to live next because it's a huge, massive investment. Look at all of the migration. I mean, it is astonishing to see all of these once, like I said, it is astonishing to see all of these once affordable cities so overvalued now. I mean, it is quite shocking. Now, I want to conclude this video with a couple of opinions that I've formulated after reading this data. Okay, here's the thing, you guys. Because 97% of cities are overvalued, moving forward, one of the smartest things you guys could do is be financially ready to purchase a home. Once you're financially ready to purchase home, have a long-term mindset no matter where you're going to live. Imagine you're going to be living there 10 years or paying the mortgage for 10 years, right? And make sure you're comfortable with those things, but you must be financially ready to purchase. Now, here's the other thing, you guys. I'm saying that there's going to crash. I'm saying that there's going to be a housing market crash this year, at the end of this year in 2022, and 2023 may be some of the best times to purchase real estate. But here's the thing, you guys. I want you to ask yourself if I'm wrong, right? So let's compare what if I'm wrong, and let's compare what if the other people are wrong, right? What if the people that can't possibly imagine a housing market crash, that say that housing's only going to go up in value, what if they're wrong versus what if I'm wrong? Here's the thing, you guys. If those people are wrong, the people that are saying buy now because it's the last time to buy, inflation, inventory, right? There's a lack of inventory. I'm only going to look at inventory. The house market's only going to go up. If they're wrong, people's lives are going to be ruined and shattered for decades. If someone goes into a foreclosure or loses and gets trapped in their house, they're going to be messed up for a very, very long time. Now, if I'm wrong, you're going to end up with better credit, more money saved, a better budget, and you're going to be ready to buy, right? So whose advice whose opinions should you follow? Think about that, right? And I am definitely saying, even if you're not on the market shopping for a house right now, be prepared, right? Be prepared to strike. Make sure your finances are in order. Make sure your budget is comfortable. You have another source of income, right? And plan accordingly. It's the problem right now is there's too many people that are emotional that look at things in the short term, right? They want to satisfy their short-term emotions, but you shouldn't do that because you guys know that this is the biggest financial transaction of your life and we are already transitioning. And this is what I'm saying. If you can, let the dust settle just for a few months. Just let the dust settle for a few months. You're going to have more inventory and more options, right? Mark my words on that. But definitely, I don't want you guys going out there, buying something, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars because your emotions, because you're scared. You shouldn't do that if you're scared. You should be confident, right? And I believe that even these people that are negative, that can't see a housing market, coming, or they're commenting that, I still think deep down they know, or why else would they be listening to these videos? If you're out there investing in real estate, I do wish you luck and I hope you win.